to my channel. It is a bright and sweaty morning here in New York City. Temperature hovering around the mid-80s. So forgive the scantily clad appearance. I'm just trying to beat the heat. Today's video, I thought I would show you the books that I have out from the library, because you seem to like those kinds of videos. I don't know if it's because you're one of those people who go to the library and take out one book at a time, and so you want to see how the other people, the other side, the people who go to the library and take books home for a walk but don't always read them before they have to return them, you want to see how those people live. In that case, you're in the right place. And if you are a person who has a lot of books, like 32 books, which is my current checkout number, if you're someone like me who has a lot of books out and you want to see how other people like you live, then also you're in the right place. So like I said, I have 32 books checked out right now. I feel like I have all of them here, but I may be missing one. So I'm going to show you the books that I have, and I'll tell you why I have them. So we start with these 5. Let's just get these 5 out of the way, because these are the big books and I can't hold them all up. These 5 are books that were assigned to me for the BookTube prize. So I am reading semi-final round. I'm reading nonfiction. So I have Paradise Falls, I have Half American, I have The Facemaker, I have My Fourth Time We Drowned, and I have Eating to Extinction. These 5 BookTube prize assignments. So I don't know if I told you, I'm like really behind on my BookTube prize reading, but I'm gonna amp it up because I am almost finished with this book. I know I said I was going to finish it last night, but I didn't, because man, it was just so hot and I was just so tired, and so I fell asleep. Still have some pages left to go in Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. This is a reread. I've had this book out from the library for a long time. I don't know how I've been able to renew it as many times as I have. I think I returned the copy that I had and I got another one, I think is what happened. So this needs to get returned like by tomorrow. It's not due by tomorrow, but I just need to get it out because I need to finish it. So I have that out. And then other books that I am reading are for other books that I have collected, are just like lots of books for challenges. So these are 4 Caribbean books that I was reading for Caribathon. I still have them. I'm not finished with The Gospel According to the New World by Maurice Conde. More on this coming later. Frying Plantain by Zalika Reed Benta. I was reading this for Caribathon. I still have a couple of stories left to read, so not finished. You'll hear about that in my Caribbean books / Caribathon wrap up, which is coming maybe tomorrow. Then If I Survive You by Jonathan Escoffrey. I really hoped to read this in June. I didn't get to it. And of course, The God of Good Looks by Brian McIver, which is a reread for me. I'm going to be talking with the author sometime soon. More on that later. So yeah, I still have these 4 Caribbean books out from the library as well. So we're at now 10 books, thereabouts, right? So I told you we have 30, so let's keep going. I can't remember why I requested this. I think someone recommended it to me, and so I requested it. It came in the library on my reserves, and I was like, why did I request this book? I couldn't remember. So I brought it home and I didn't get a chance to read it. It was due to be returned. I returned it. I requested it again because like I want to read it. I'm just so intrigued by this cover, and I don't know why it was recommended to me. Can't remember who. I think I may have a screenshot of the comment. I do that sometimes. One day I'll go through my phone and I'll find out why I requested this book. So it's just kind of lingering here. One day soon, hopefully, I'll get to it. I have Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. I think I'm going to be reading this for a challenge sometime soon. I'm really intrigued. Like I said, I think I've told you this many times before. I'm really intrigued by novels that have science terms, chemistry terms especially, but chemistry, physics, math, anything, science terms in the title. I love the intersection of science and fiction. I don't necessarily love science fiction. So I have that out from the library, and that this copy has been like my third or fourth copy that I've gotten from the library because it's a popular book. I don't seem to be able to renew it, but I want to read it, just haven't been able to read it on the schedule. The Door by Magda Szabo is a reread for me. I'm going to be reading it soon with my buddies, so I requested this copy. We were going to read it together, and then we decided to read this instead. So the same group that I'm reading this with, I'm going to be reading this with after we're finished discussing this, I think. So The Door by Magda Szabo I have out from the library. Like I said, I read that before. I read a Kindle version maybe last year and definitely wanted to reread it, so I think I suggested it to the buddies, and we're going to be reading that sometime soon. Then I'm going to be reading this for a challenge later this year, The Maltese Falcon by Dashiell Hammett. I put this on my TBR for a challenge. I don't remember which challenge, but I wanted to read this. This is on my list of books that I want to read eventually, so I'm going to be reading that hopefully sometime soon. I'm intrigued by this cover. Is this Pulp Fiction? I think so. If I'm not, correct me. We were in the library together, and my daughter really wanted to check out a book. She wanted to use the machine, and I didn't have a book that I needed to check out. Like, there wasn't a book that was on my reserves list. So I went to the shelves and I asked her to choose a book, and she chose one for me. I think this is it. Either this is the book or the book that was next to the one that she chose, and so this comes up on a lot of book lists. So I said, I should read this. I think that was how it worked. She picked a book, or she suggested a book, and I took the book next to it, I think is what happened. So this is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. I feel like most of you out here have probably read that book. I haven't. And then I have this book, The Henna Artist by Alka Joshi. Because I go to the library not just to pick up books that have come in on my reserves or to go look for books. I also go to be inspired. And so my library is going to be discussing this in a book club next week. So I saw it on the shelf, several copies of this book, and the ad for the book club discussion. And I said, I should join. I have lots of time to read, right? So I don't have lots of time to read. I mean, I have lots of time to read, but I have other books that I really need to read on a schedule. So I don't know that I'll necessarily be able to read and participate in the discussion next week. But for now, this is a ridiculously ambitious goal that still feels attainable. And I just like when I set those kinds of targets and I'm able to meet them. It doesn't hammer off, but when it does, it gives me a big kick. So I decided to try that. So those are the next 6, I suppose. And then other things. So I have lots of challenges that I'm participating in, and so some of these are books for challenges. I had to read a book about mental health, a nonfiction book preferably about mental health, and although I have lots of nonfiction books that are assigned to me for BookTube Prize, none of them seem to be about mental health, at least not from the synopsis. So I selected another book. This is a memoir. It's called My Lovely Wife in the Psych Ward, a memoir by Mark Lukács. And I was really intrigued by this, and so I requested it. It came in, so I have it. I think I need to read this by October, so I have time. I have time to get to that. I needed to read a book with day in the title for the RunwrightReads Summer Reading Challenge, so I chose Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day by Winifred Watson. I've heard that people like this book, so I want to read it. And then I'm currently reading Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. This was a question on Jeopardy! A few nights ago, and I knew the answer even though I haven't finished reading the book, so that was great. Then another book for a challenge, Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. I have never read, and I was really tickled when this came in at the library, because this is one of those, you know, kind of old-timey books, just like naked hardback, cloth cover, with the title and the author's name printed in metallic silver or gold. I'm not even sure which. The light is kind of throwing me off. But this reminds me of the books that were on my father and mother's bookshelves when I was a child. The books that I thought when I was an adult, I would own. And I don't have a lot of these books that look like this because, you know, books look like this now. sneak peek at the next book. Books look like this now. So I don't have a lot of books like this on my shelf, but I was really tickled when this came in. I think this is a Everyman's edition. Yeah, the Everyman's Library. I'm always tickled by these editions. So this is for another reading challenge. I needed to read a book where the title starts with G. And I was really startled to find that of all the books that I have on my shelf unread, I did not have a book that I wanted to read right now that started with G and that met the other requirements of the challenge, which was that number one, had to be a book over 200 pages. So yeah, reading Gulliver's Travels for this challenge, and I needed to read this in my big picture TBR, so yeah, there's that as well. Other books. Told you about this in my summer reading challenge update. I'm going to be reading this really soon because my brother-in-law recommended it, and I'm going to be seeing my brother-in-law in a few days, and I really wanted to read this so we could chat about it before the meetup. So I don't know. The Black Echo by Michael Connelly is the start of the Harry Bosch series. I think this is crime investigation, police detective, that kind of thing, and I'm looking forward to reading this. And I think even though it's around 400 pages, I feel like it's going to be a quick read, one of those books where you have to finish reading it before you go to bed, that kind of thing. So almost done, almost done. This is the saving grace. This one's for my husband because he doesn't have a library card, and so I check out books for him. And so this one is on my account, but he's the one who's reading it. This is One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Yeah. I want to read it too. It's on my TBR. Just, I don't think I'm going to be reading it soon is the thing. So I could also read this for the Run Right Reads Summer Reading Challenge because the books have to be over 150 pages and this is 180 pages. So this would meet the challenge of a book with day in the title, but I also have Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day. So we'll see. We'll see. Silent Spring by Rachel Carson was a hopeful, wanted to read for Springathon, wanted to read for many different reasons, but I'm going to have to return this one because it is now, I think, overdue. I think it became due a few days ago and I can't renew it. So this actually has to go back to the library today, but for now, it's still here. And this is a reread. I used to own a copy of this and I gave it away, and then I was going to be buddy reading this with Patrice Jones, and I'm not sure when that buddy read is happening, but it's a tiny book and it's such a great read. So if you're interested in books about finance in general, or if you like books that have kind of a biblical setting but aren't necessarily religious, then I think you'll enjoy this. So recommending it to you. And of course, if you read it around the same time and you want to discuss it with me and Patrice, I think we'd be up to that as well. So yeah, The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason, I really, really like. So like I said, this is going to be a reread. And then of course, you know about my continuing love for Jeopardy. And one of the things that I am not very strong on is trivia about United States presidents. And so I got this book, which is Kids Meet the Presidents, die-cut portraits of all the presidents, going up to Barack Obama, I think is the last president in here. Yeah, so not that I am excising United States history, but this book was published before Donald Trump's presidency. So this includes all the presidents up to Barack Obama, and I'm reading and learning a little bit about presidential trivia to, you know, get ready for my audition for Jeopardy. So yeah, those are the books that I have. No, that's not true. I still have some more. Okay. I thought we were done. So this is a book that has been lingering for a while. This is a book that was on Britta's 1001 book list. Remember, I'm trying to read some of those books this year. So this is Elena Knows by Claudia Pinheiro, and I got this for Asian American Readathon and I didn't read it, so I'm going to be returning this. This is Minor Feelings by Kathy Park Hong, and this one is a book that I got a NetGalley download back when it was in Galley format and I didn't read it, but I still need to submit a review. So this is The Perfect Girlfriend by Karen Hamilton. I just need to reread that. I think I read it in NetGalley, but I never wrote a review, so I just need to read that. I don't think I'm going to be reading this. Going to be returning this today. The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks. Same. Wanted to read. Can't read now. I'm going to be returning this. This is Under the Banner of Heaven by John Krakauer. I have loved everything that I have read from him so far. And this was also for Springathon. Sounds Wild and Broken by David George Haskell. Someday soon. And then I went down the rabbit hole with this lady from YouTube, Nikki Boyd. She has a few channels. The one that I was watching mostly was At Home with Nikki, and I really love her aesthetic. I love what she shares on her YouTube channel. So she has a book, she has several books. This is the first of her books, and so I got it from the library. And those are the books that I have out from the library. Would love to know from you, if you check out books from the library, what's your current checkout number? If your number is as high as mine, or if it's higher, because I feel like I'm doing really well. Last time I showed you my checkouts, I had 50 books or thereabouts, and now we're up to 32. Like, a lot of these are going back today. If I had to redo this video tomorrow, my number would not be 32, it may be 31. Because usually when I take books to the library, sometimes I take books home, not always the same number. So those are my library checkouts. Would love to know what your library checkouts look like. If you have, you know, up to your limit from your library, would love to know about that as well. So thank you so much for watching this video, and until we come back for another one, happy reading. Bye.